In this short tutorial, I'd like to take you through the process that each party has to undergo in order to complete the apprentice's progress review form in PebblePad. So the first thing is that it starts with the apprentice accessing their workbook and sharing it with their employer mentor. In order to do that, they go into PebblePad and into Pebble Plus and access their workbook, which should be in their assets. So once they've accessed their workbook, they can click I want to share, and they will share with an external assessor. Should you find that there are only these three options here, it means that the workbook has yet to be shared with the Atlas workspace. So you'd need to do that first, and that will release the external assessor share option. We're going to share with an external assessor, and there are two things here. So the first thing is that we're going to check whether that external assessor has an account in PebblePad. So I'm going to type in a name of an account that I know is not there. These are made up accounts, and search to see if the account's there. Now, if this is the first time you've shared the workbook with the assessor, then it's unlikely that there will be an account, but it could be that somebody else had shared theirs. So if there's no account, we need to add the new external. Now that simply is the filling in of a form, and the copying of the email address in there. So we do that, and you'll notice that the first option here is to create. Now that is creating an account in PebblePad for that external assessor. We've already got an account, so I don't need to worry about this, but I wanted to take you through that anyway. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to share with this assessor here. So when I click on that, it will find the assessor who already has an account in PebblePad. I'll click on that. I can select a share date, so a date that I want to end the share, so that could be shortly after the end of the apprenticeship, or you could just leave it blank, and then you would simply click on share the asset. So I've already shared this asset, so I'll show you what happens then. So you click share. Now the assessor, the external assessor, the employer mentor, will receive two emails. So the first email here is that the account has been created for them. So the first email asks them to go in and set a password. So once they've done that, they can then use the links to access the meeting record. So when you filled in the form at first, that created the first email, and when you sent the link, that created the second email. So the employer mentor will have two emails. So that's sharing the workbook. So when we go back now, we need to go in as the assessor. So now the assessor will generate the progress review form. So in order to do that, they'll go into submissions, they'll look at progress reviews from the drop down, and they'll find their learner there. They'll click generate submission, and they will fill in the name, like that, and a meeting time and date. So we could do it for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Now the options here is that the assessor can save and release or save and hold. This save and release allows the learner to access the form, but it doesn't mean to say that they can't go back and edit it. So what I'll do is I'll save and release that form, and that's the form generated, the progress review generated for the learner. So now we're going to just have a look at what that looks like for the learner. So I'll go back to Pebble Plus, I'll go into my workbook, go into progress reviews, and go into meeting records. So now with the toggle turned on, this is a meeting record here that was generated just now, and these are the others that have been generated before. So if I wanted to go in and complete my review forms, I would simply go in and copy in and paste in or complete my sections all the way down. Now the ideal is that this happens before the review occurs. So in consultation with the employer mentor, all this detail is discussed and generated and completed. By doing this, that means that the discussions during that meeting can be much more meaningful and rich. So the first thing is that the apprentice goes in and completes their bits, and then they would save that. Now the workplace mentor can also go in and have a look. So they can either access it through the workbook or through the reviews that they've generated. So you can see that David's got 4 there. And they would then complete their sections. So you can see I've already completed some here, but if I wanted to go in, I can add more feedback, add new feedback, edit the existing feedback that's already there. So you can see what the learners put, and the NTU Mentor boxes become available for them to complete if they wanted to complete some text before the meeting or during the meeting. Ideally before. And at the bottom of each form is a declaration area. So the apprentice has already ticked that. I've ticked that just to say it's a true record, and we just need the employer mentor to complete their bit now. So we've generated the form, the apprentice has completed their bits, the NTU mentor has gone in and completed their bits. So finally it's for the employer mentor to do theirs. So the employer mentor will have a link from PebblePad, and they will need to log in as a guest with their email address and password that they created in the first email that was sent to their account. So you can see that they still have the same assessor field options as the NTU assessor, but this time when we scroll down, the employer mentor sections are available to be completed. So I can complete the ones here, this. Completed. Ready. So that's D3. So complete my bits in there and then save and release. And likewise, if I wanted to complete any of the other sections as well, which clearly I would, I've prepared these prior. So if I go up to C3, I can complete those bits and paste those in as well. Now, once we've done all of that, that builds up a picture of the journey that the apprentice has had during that 12-week period, and it allows for meaningful discussions. So that assessor then can fill all of their bits in, go down to the bottom and tick the declaration to say that they confirm that they were present. So likewise, I'll save and release everything. And if I wanted to go back in and add more detail, edit more detail, I could do that, even though I've signed it. But it is worth noting that there is a compliance element for this, that they must all be signed, even if the employer mentor is not actually present at that meeting. But ideally, they ought to be. So that's the process to complete the form from the apprentice's view, the NTU mentor's view, and the employer mentor's view. So the final thing to do is the actions. So I've got the actions down here, so I'll just copy some of these actions and go back to the review form. So this needs to be done by the employer mentor, by the NTU mentor. So we will access the workbook this time. I'll just filter that. And the actions currently are held in the action log. So once we've had the meeting, we know what the actions are. We'll click on the action log and we can add the actions into the action log, and then exactly the same as before, save and release those so that they're available for the learner. And that's the process from sharing the workbook with the employer mentor to generating the progress review form by the NTU mentor, everybody completing their sections, and the resulting actions being held in the workbook. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Thanks for listening.